Hi everyone, so today I'm going to do a review of the Sckoon cups, both the size 1 and the size 2. Before I get into review, I'm just going to show you the packaging that it came with because I actually haven't have it this time, and go over the construction of the cups and then get into what I think of each size. So I bought my large Sckoon cup first, and I bought that in May of 2015, and I bought the small Sckoon cup earlier this year, I think maybe March 2015. They both came in this plastic baggie. It's called an eco pack. It's just a little kind of Ziploc bag with the Sckoon branding on it. The back of the bag indicates the size. So this was the bag I got with my size 1. And there's some instructions. There's also a user guide inside of that. It's pretty typical menstrual cup user guide. I don't really read this anymore. And each cup came with a little cotton bag. This is the one that came with the size 2, which I bought first. I didn't really like the bag, so I made a different one. I just took the Sckoon pull strings out and put it on the bag. And then this is the bag that came with the small one, and I don't really use it. So just to get into the construction of the cups, these cups are pretty much constructed the same way except for the size. I'm going to do the large first just because this one is intact. So this is the stem. It is I call it a tapered cylinder. It's fairly stretchy. There are grips on the stem, and has a nice blunt end. As you can see, I didn't trim the stem on this one. Even though I have a low cervix, or my cervix drops pretty low during my cycle, I've been able to keep the stem on this, and I'll get into that when I get into review. They both have the same flower pattern of grip rings on the bottom. Somewhere embossed here it says like Sckoon made in the USA down here, and then they have the same bell shape, kind of like a tulip to some extent. But what I like most about the Sckoon cups is their suction release holes, because they are slanted upwards, so they're low on the outside and high on the inside, and that means that, you know, when you think about the capacity of a Sckoon cup, it's pretty much the same to the rim as to the holes, because the holes go to the top of the rim. I can't remember the dimensions. I'm really sorry. I will put them in the description or add them below right now. But if I remember correctly, the large is about 50 millimeters long and has a 45 millimeter diameter. The small is listed as 40 millimeters long, but I just don't think there's that much difference between these two. I measured it at, I think, about 45 or 46 millimeters long, and the diameter is about, I'm going to say 40 millimeters. I'm just going to pause and see if I can find my caliper. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back, and I found my caliper. So I'm going to measure the Sckoon small here. So I've trimmed the stem on this one, and I'll explain why I had to trim the stem a little bit later, but let's measure it here and see. So the measurement is this line here. I wish my camera would focus so you can see what the actual number is. Let me just try to focus it. It's hard to read, but I promise it says 46 millimeters is the reading I'm getting right now. So if you minus the millimeter for the kind of stub of the stem, it's about 45 millimeters long, so not 40. And the rim is, the diameter, I'm sorry, is 40 millimeters, which is what I think I remembered. Okay, so to get into the review of the cup, I love the Sckoon size 2. This was the first cup I bought that actually worked for me, that I was able to use away from home. When I bought this, my flow was very heavy, my cervix was low for my entire cycle, and I needed a high capacity cup that could accommodate a low cervix. So this being a shorter than average size 2 cup, it actually works really well. And the diameter of this is, just let me check again, it's about 45 millimeters, which is what I thought. My cervix was able to sit comfortably in this cup, and I could probably get the capacity up to about here where my thumb is, which doesn't seem like much, but it was a lot for me. And I never had to trim the stem on this because I always found the stem to be really comfortable. Even though it was kind of outside of my vagina, it would sit, you know, relatively easily between my labia and it didn't cause any irritation. So I really like the Sckoon size 2. It's also, I would say a relatively soft cup. The cup I used right before this was a Lunette 2. That was incredibly firm, way too firm for me. So the Sckoon size 2 was a big change and much more comfortable and easier for me to use. When I first got this though, I tried to use the punch down fold because that's what I was using with my Lunette. And the first weekend I tried to do dry runs. I had a difficult time. I thought I was never going to like this cup. Then somebody recommended the 7-fold, which I kind of do, I think all the way down to a triangle fold really. And this works a lot better. So I insert like this, and then I kind of rotate while I'm inserting, and then it opens up fairly easily. So one thing to note about the Sckoon cups, and this applies to the size 1 as well, is that the silicone is quite thick. And it kind of has a sticky feel. I don't know if you can hear that. That doesn't really bother me. It's kind of a matte finish. Maybe it bothers some people. It doesn't really bother me. It does kind of attract lint, but you know, you rinse your cup before you insert it anyway. And then on to the size 1. So I, use the Sckoon 2. I've used a lot of other cups, but I really wanted to try a Sckoon size 1. I thought, if the Sckoon size 2 works for me, the Sckoon 1 will definitely work for me. I have a low cervix. I'm sure the scuff will be shorter. The stem will be the same. It'll kind of be a perfect cup. And I also had the idea that, maybe I would actually be able to use this cup to its full capacity because it would be a shorter cup that would sit completely below my cervix. So my cervix would be here as opposed to here. And, I'd be able to use the cup all the way up to the rim. And 23 milliliters would, that's the capacity of this cup, would be a lot for me to have. That did not work out as well as I hoped. So, a couple of things. First of all, the Sckoon size 1 is firmer than the size 2 by a good bit, which was surprising. So I'm like, okay, that's alright. I can manage a firm cup if it's a small cup, so I didn't mind that. So I had to start using the punch down fold. Now the punch down fold though, with the Sckoon, doesn't actually give a very small profile in my opinion. Like a lot of cups, like the Ruby and even the Lena, I would say punch down a lot smaller, and that's partially because the Sckoon silicone is so thick. And that was the next problem for me. So I was surprised that I actually had to trim the stem off this because I figured, well, this cup is shorter than the Sckoon size 2 and the stem is pretty much the same length. I thought I'd be able to keep the stem intact. I couldn't, and what happened was this. I guess my cervix is even lower than I really realized. And because the internal diameter of this is so small, because the silicone is thick, I felt like my cervix couldn't get into the cup without a lot of pain. Like I had some cramping when I tried to put this in. So it had to sit a lot lower than I thought it would need to. So I needed to trim this. So okay, because the internal diameter is too small and my cervix couldn't get into the cup, or rather the cup couldn't get up and around my cervix comfortably enough, the stem sat a lot lower than the stem of this one would sit, and I had to cut it all the way off to be comfortable. So sad to say, the Sckoon 1 I did not like. Like now that I'm off hormonal birth control, my cervix is not low all the time. It's a little bit higher now on some days, and on those days it's fine. Like I can wear this comfortably, but I have other cups that I can wear just as easily on those days that I prefer to use. So I was surprised that I love the Sckoon 2. Like I really love this cup. I feel comfortable using it. Good capacity, easy to use, comfortable, doesn't cause cramps. The stem doesn't bother me. Total opposite with the Sckoon size 1. It is firmer than expected. My cervix can't fit in the cup, and the stem bothered me. Now, if you obviously don't have the same issues that I have, your cervix is higher, and you generally prefer firmer cups, then yeah, you should get the Sckoon 1. I still like the Sckoon. I like the construction of the cup. I love the attachment release holes. I still like the stem construction because I think, for me the main issue is that the cup sat low. The Sckoon size 1 sat so low that this part of the stem was very close to the entrance of my vagina, which, this part moves a lot less than say this part, right? So if you can get the cup into a position where either the stem is obviously all the way in, or the bottom part of the stem is the part that's kind of in contact with the external area of your vagina, then you'll be fine. but in my case it was so low that this part was kind of hidden on the sensitive areas there, so I had to trim it off. But overall, I mean, I think they're well constructed cups. They are a little bit more expensive. They tend to go on sale less often. I might have bought mine when it was on sale on Amazon, one of those rare times. I think $25. Usually they're around $38.99 US. So sorry, they are good cups. They're well constructed. I think they're worth the money. Lots of great color options. I like the grip rings on these cups. Some people might not find them grippy enough. In my case, where the cups generally sit very low and I don't need the grip rings to get the cup out, I prefer grip rings that are not too rigid or too pronounced, because I have to kind of reach in and fiddle with my cups a lot to position them, and the less irritation I get from the grip rings, better. Great stem. Overall, good cups. I just did not like the Sckoon one as much as I was hoping I would, but that's not the fault of the cup. It's just, you know, the cup was a little different than I expected and it didn't meet my needs, but otherwise it's a good cup. Just to give you an idea of the relative size, the Sckoon cup, the Sckoon one is a tiny cup. Like, there's no two ways about that. It's funny because it is a tiny cup, but because the silicone is thick, the profile of the cup is not tiny when you try to do an incision. I think, I'm trying to remember which fold I used with this. I actually don't remember which fold I used. Maybe the C fold, but it's kind of a giant C fold, to be honest. So I would, and kind of, you hear that pop, right? I would recommend trying the punch down. You might have to do this a little bit, kind of overlap it and then try to insert it. Anyway, I hope that was helpful. It's kind of my ramblings about the Sckoon. I love the Sckoon 1. I love the Sckoon 2, which was my first Sckoon. If anybody needs a soft cup, I highly recommend this one. It's my favorite. Well, that's not true. It's not my favorite anymore, but it's one of my favorite soft cups. The Sckoon 1, if you want a small, firm cup, try the Sckoon 1. Anyway, hope that was helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, if you want to see any comparisons of these cups to any other ones. And thanks for watching. Bye.